Hey there, fellow Stamp Nation members. Chrissy here, and today I'm going to show you how to watercolor with sparkle markers. Now, if you're familiar with the series that I did recently, I did do a Spectrum Aqua masterclass. So this takes some of the same concepts that I used with the aqua markers, but instead I am using the Spectrum Noir sparkle markers. If you're not familiar with these markers, there's also the Wink of Stellas, which are pretty similar as well. I've just found that the Spectrum Noir ones, they have a wider array of colors available right now, at least as far as I know. They work really well. And so I'm going to show you how to kind of stretch them instead of just using them for accents, which is kind of what a lot of people tend to do because they are pretty vibrant and pretty thick. I'm going to show you how to actually watercolor with them. So before we start watercoloring, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to add a sentiment on here. So I'm using this, I love the sentiment. This is one of my favorite stamps ever. It's the most wonderful time of the year sentiment from the same name stamp set. And I'm just using Grass Skirt and the Peppermint Scrub stamps and inks. And those are two inks you would think would not go well together, but using my Misty, I kind of made them go well together. And then I grabbed this cute little Santa hot cocoa mug. And that's a Your Next stamp set. And so I just stamped that with some Onyx black ink and I heat embossed in clear embossing powder over both of them. I just want to also apologize. I'm getting over a cold, so my voice is kind of cutting in and out. So I'm sorry if my talking is driving you crazy. So like the Spectrum Aquas, I took an acrylic block and I just kind of scribbled a little bit of color on there. So I did the same thing. These are brush tipped markers as well. Really soft, fine, I guess you want to say like brush nibs. Just they're vibrant. So the more you squeeze, the more comes out. But you can dilute them with water and you can essentially watercolor, which is what I'm doing here. I keep a paper towel. You can see how frequently I go to my paper towel because when you pick up that color, it is a lot of color. So I do need to consistently wipe off my water brush. So like I said, I just scribbled on the acrylic block and now I'm using a water brush to pick up that color and basically paint in the color that I want. You could also use the sparkle. There's a clear sparkle marker that is available as well if you don't have a water brush, or you could just use a paintbrush and water. The sparkle marker, I've done it before. It's a great effect. It leaves everything super duper sparkly. So the sparkle is still there. It does dilute it a hair. But if you use the clear sparkle marker, it is literally just like a whole section of sparkly goodness. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to throw some music on. You can just see basically what I'm doing is I grab some color, kind of go with the darkest area, tap it off onto a paper towel to kind of dilute that color, and then I blend it with the water brush. So it does take a little bit of practice, but if you are familiar with watercoloring or if you're familiar with the different Spectrum Aqua techniques that are out there, it's essentially the same thing. So I'll be back in a little bit. Let me throw on some music here for you and you can just watch me color in this super cute little Santa mug. Okay, I'm just finishing this up now. You can see that I added a little bit of green in there as a shadow. Let kind of some of that color blend out. Now I'm just going in and touching up some final little things. I did have a little bit of the color bleed into there, so I just can kind of fix that using the water brush. It'll kind of dilute that color that bled out and it fixes it. And then I just used a heat gun to kind of hit it to make sure that it was completely dry. And now I am just going to finish up the card by adding some dimension, putting some 3D foam squares on there, and then assembling it to a standard card base, which is 4 1/4 by 11 scored at 5 1/2. And that is it. Thank you so much for being a Stamp Nation member, and I can't wait to see what you create using this technique. Have a great day.